Here was a couple of, this is right after the Colorado shooting at the Planned Parenthood. Chris Hardball had on presidential candidate and Iowa primary caucus winner 2012, Rick Santorum. Let's remember, he won the Iowa caucus last election for the GOP. That's correct, right, Frank? They originally gave it to
Romney.
Mitt Romney, but something happened with I don't know how they recounted or whatever, but he ended up winning it.
Yeah, and because people like Rick Santorum win the Iowa caucus, it's really understandable why the press pays so much attention to it, because it has such earth-shaking effect on what happens historically.
Yes. The Iowa caucus hasn't mattered for a while for Republicans, that's for sure.
So it ultimately predicts nothing.
It didn't predict.
But it's super exciting, huh?
I mean, Huckabee won it in 2007 or 8, and then it was this guy, Rick Santorum. So here, after this shooting in Colorado, Chris Hardball asks Rick Santorum, because he's for guns everywhere. And he says, even in a clinic, you think it would be? And here's what Rick Santorum says. Hold on, buckle up.
In a clinic to have guns?
Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't I believe people should have the right to carry guns wherever they want to carry guns.
You mean a doctor and a nurse in an operating room?
There's a law-abiding people who are there
why
who
would
can
no?
protect
But seriously,
each other.
functionally, you say we could prevent this tragedy if you had people armed. Do you expect people to be armed in a doctor's office?
Where do you think these people commit crimes? They go to places. These people who are ill, they go to places where they know no one's going to have a gun. If you have a, I know
that's why they go to a clinic. They're ill, and that's why they end up. They're just going to kill anybody wherever they go. They end up getting sick. They are ill. They go to a clinic. They kill people there. That's why we got to have guns at the clinic. This is his idea. That's what they go to places where there are no guns to kill. You know, Frank, like Fort Hood.
Yes, I was just about to say Fort Hood, an army base where there's never any guns.
Yeah, or the White House. Yeah, they go where there's no guns. There was another shooting at a naval. Anyway, that's just so funny to me. Yeah, they go where there aren't guns. Okay, let's go.
That sounds somehow foreign to certain ears, but the fact is that they don't go to places where people are armed. They go to places where people are unarmed.
I don't think it sounds foreign. What I think is weird is when we grew up with Matt Dillon, they'd say, keep your guns at the city limits. There were always ordinances about guns. It's not un-American to think that you have some limits on access.
The problem is the bad guys.
We don't have guns all the time.
The bad guys have guns. That's the problem, and there's no way around that.
Do you support the NRA all the way when it says they want guns in bars where people are getting drunk? They should have a gun with them.
Now, what do you think Rick Santorum's going to say to this question, Frank?
I can only guess, but I think
drinking alcohol and firearms, do they go together? People take your keys away when you drink. They're gonna, but you can have a firearm. And let's see what Rick Santorum, because he's got kids. He's really responsible. He's super Christian, so he must be super responsible. Let's see what he says.
Again,
you're not for that, are you?
I believe that responsible people carrying weapons actually reduces crime in America and saves people's lives.
Responsible people walk into.
First of all, that's not true. They've done studies now. Harvard did a study, and they found out that turns out wherever there's more guns, there's more gun violence.
Well,
weird.
Well, he didn't say based on facts. He said what I believe.
Yes, that's right. He said what he believes. Okay, more to school. Here we go.
A saloon wearing a gun.
Many people do. Of course they do. Of course they do.
Hey.
Not everybody who walks into a saloon, Chris, gets drunk. I mean,
some do.
Well, some do.
But some do, and that's okay. So some of them are going to be drunk with guns. That's what he just said. He just said, yeah, some get drunk, and they're going to have fucking guns.
And not all
of them.
Not all of them shoot their guns. Just some of them do.
Just some of them. Not all of them shoot their guns drunk.
And you know, there is, and this is, I don't have the exact statistics, but there is a high percentage of police officers who, when they go out and get drunk with their buddies, they end up shooting their friends or whatever. There ends up being gunshot incidents when alcohol is involved with cops who have guns when they're off duty.
Yeah. Frank, wherever there's guns, there's going to be more gun violence. You were correct.
Yes.
So now,
and more guns in the home mean more suicides. That's a fact.
That's a fact.
Too.
So let's hear if he has anything else to
Guns
say.
are loaded. Thank you, Rick. And
Not
see,
necessarily.
you got to be pro-life about some of this stuff. I mean,
I am
carrying
pro-life about
guns
it.
and booze don't mix.
Well, all I'm saying is
Do they?
that the more people that we have responsibly carrying, the less violence we're going to have.
So he comes out in favor of guns and booze. This is a guy, because you know why? Because he's a 12-year-old kid. That's what the kind of policies Eddie Haskell would make
Exactly.
up. This is a grown-up guy who wants to be in charge of the country. Booze and guns, I don't see a problem. That's like if you gave 12-year-old kids the ability to write a law. That would, hey, let's have them in bars. That's
Sure.
the opposite of responsible. That's what money does to people. That's what ambition does. That's what selfishness does. That's narcissism. That's that guy. It's like, yeah, guns and booze. I think it's a good idea. I mean, that's because why? Because Jesus. So
Jimmy, when I'm in a bar, sometimes I might need a gun if the mozzarella stick order isn't up to what it should be. If they don't give me as many chicken wings as I want,
so
I might need a gun.
So what Rick Santorum's saying, Frank, is that he believes that good law-abiding Americans need to carry guns into bars in case a non-law-abiding guy carries his gun into the bar, gets drunk, and starts shooting, so then they can shoot him. And everyone will be able to know who's the good guys and who's the bad guys shooting. Right? Everyone will know immediately who the good guys are shooting drunk in a bar.
Mm-hmm.
So Christie, so this is what happens when you run for president at the GOP. You have to say things like this about guns. I think guns and bars are good. Please elect me president.